Welcome to the Showgirl Connection. I'm your host, Luann. Today we have with us three great people from the big stage show spectaculars that dominated the strip for 5 decades. I have Teri Thorndike, I have Ron DeCar, and I have Shirley Cina with me today. Teri and Ron were both in the Follies Bergère, and I know Shirley was in the Follies.
Yes, Vegas Follies.
The Las Vegas Follies.
Yes, and I was in a nightclub act called Fancy Dancing.
But was that in Las Vegas?
East. No, that was not.
That was back east.
Yes, that was New York.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so why don't we shall we start with you, Shirley? Tell us a little bit about your background and how you got to Vegas.
Well, I originally hailed from Buffalo, New York, and danced all of my life, really. Danced with Michael Bennett. Actually, I was brought up with Michael Bennett. We share the same birthday.
Oh, cool.
So danced with Michael for a lot of years, and he obviously left and went on to do West Side Story. I continued. I taught dancing for a long time, and there was a club in downtown Buffalo that asked us to do a nightclub act, a dinner theater. And that's where it all started. And I was dancing in the show, and eventually our MC was ill, and on a Saturday afternoon, my boss came in and said, "You are going to MC the show tonight." I guess I was the girl with the biggest mouth.
That could be good or bad.
So I ended up emceeing, not knowing a thing that I was going to do. It just took a couple hours, but it happened that way. And then before I knew it, we had a huge gay following, and I felt like a Bette Midler. A little bit, with this big gay following, and they would bring me costumes backstage and all sorts of things, and started listening to other comedians. And before I knew it, I was doing more and more of the comedy in the show.
Oh,
so I danced as well, but it became the comedy thing for me.
Okay.
And within a year, we were picked up at the Playboy Club in Western New York. So we did a show there, well, pretty much 7 nights a week. 7 nights a week.
Sounds like Las
Vegas.
Vegas.
3 shows a night.
Yeah.
And some of those shows, people just did not leave. They stayed. So we had to have enough material to do 3 different shows. 3 different shows.
Three different shows a night.
3 different shows a night.
Wow.
Because it wasn't like Vegas. People just didn't get up and leave. They would stay for the next show.
So you didn't want them to
So,
be bored.
got it.
So you had to have different material, different dance numbers, and yes, and I loved it. I just loved it. It was just great. And eventually I moved out here in 1988.
Okay.
My daughter opened the show here with Abracadabra. She moved out here. Actually, the first show she was in was at the Landmark, Magic.
Wow.
It was the very first show, and I came out to visit, and I've had a 36-year visit. And she went on to open the show with Siegfried and Roy.
Nice.
And then she worked with Reba McEntire and Prince and did a lot of those things. And eventually, I was here 2 years, and she moved out to California to get into acting, which she's doing. And I was working, and then as soon as I retired, I said, I got to get back into dance, got to get back into the whole thing. And I went into Las Vegas Follies with Rich Rizzo and with Teri.
And that's how you met Teri?
Yeah. Joni Ceylon and just all the Follies girls.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's been fun. It's been fun. I love it. Love it.
Oh, well, thank you. And so you guys met at the Follies.
Yeah, it was about 8 years ago. I had just retired from the retail, and I wanted to do something else, so I had called Rich Rizzo and asked him, for some dance lessons. He goes, well, I have Las Vegas Follies, so why don't you come over and take a look and see what, if you want to be in it. So I went over there and rehearsed a little bit with him and signed up with Rich, and that's how I met Shirley. Yep. And all the girls from the Las Vegas Follies.
Wow.
Yeah, it was fun working with Rich Rizzo. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He was great.
Well, I was with Rich Rizzo and Jubilee. I was in the original cast, and it was Rich Rizzo and Winston that were the choreographers.
Oh, they were great.
Right.
That was a great show too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now let's take you backwards. So you started So then you were in the Follies.
I started in the Follies Bergère, and 1970 was my first job here. Ooh,
Wow.
showing my age. Well, I was such a baby.
You were 10,
I
weren't you?
think I was 10. Yeah.
The youngest ever hired.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, so that was my first job, and I worked there for 2 years, and then I went to Paris to work at the Moulin Rouge for a year. I lived there for a year, and I kind of missed it, so I wanted to come back to Las Vegas. So I came back to Las Vegas and started working with Frederick Abkar and French Love Connection and Casino de Paris
Okay.
show. And then after that, I did a lot of lounge shows, Bear Touch of Vega,
Wow.
Sassy Class. Yeah, I did about a good 10 or 15 of the lounge shows around town. And then I got back to in the Follies back in 1979 and stayed till 1990, 91. So it was like a full circle. Loved the Follies.
Yeah.
It was that's where I met Ron.
Yeah.
That's where I met Ron in
Okay.
the Follies, you know.
Yeah.
So we all know one another and worked with one another and
Yeah.
everything. So it was just something. It's such a magical time back then. You know,
It
we don't
really
have
was.
those shows anymore, but it was absolutely fabulous.
The best.
And we're all still
Yeah.
we all still stay in close touch with one another and everything. It's like a big family, and we still are.
So where did you come from?
I came from Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas.
Yeah, I had a line of dancers there called the Golden Girls before the Golden Girls were. Yeah, the Golden Girls.
So you were the young Golden
I was the
Girls.
young. The place was called the Golden Fleece, the Golden Fleece, and it was underground. We had 3 of us dancers, and I was like right out of high school, and everything. And so I had like dancers there for about 2 or 3 years there in Texas, and then I went to L.A., auditioned for Disneyland, and worked at Disneyland for a while.
Wow.
I was in the Pepsi Cola show, doing 6 shows a day, and it was the best time ever.
So what were you doing in the Pepsi Cola show?
I was one of the can dancers.
Oh,
It was like called a Pepsi Cola show. It was like a country and western
yeah.
type of show. This there and everything, singers, dancers, you know, acts and everything, band. So it was fun. I believe it's still there. It went on for years.
Wow.
Yeah,
And then you came from Pepsi Cola to Follies?
absolutely did. You know, and got hired before I even saw the show. You know, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I didn't even see the show. I just went for the audition. They said we have an opening in Las Vegas if you would like to be in the show, and I went, sounds good. I mean, I'm only 20, 21 years old, so
Yeah.
at the time. So, and it sounded, you know, fun. So I flew there. Vasily Sulik, he auditioned me.
Wow.
He was the one that started
Yeah.
Nevada Dance Company. And he was the ballet master for the Follies for years. And he taught ballet between shows, you know, so to keep your, you know, strength up and everything. So it was really something back then, you know. In the
So you were
70s.
can dancer in the Follies.
Can and everything else, you know.
So did you swing?
Yep, I was a swing dancer. I learned everybody's parts in there and jumped right in when somebody called out sick or there was an injury. You know, there was a few swing dancers that did that.
Yeah.
You know, but it was fun. You know, it was back then. It was just we did 2 shows a night, 6 nights a week, and we had 1 night off.
Yeah, that was
So-
kind of standard back then.
That was then, yeah,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is. And now they just do 1 show 5 days a week, you know, so it's nothing like what we did. And sometimes we did 3 on Saturday
Yeah,
nights.
when I first came into town, we did 3 on
we
Saturday.
did a 2 a.m. show,
Yeah.
you know, 8, 12, and 2, you know, so. But they stopped that later on with union issues because you didn't have enough time between shows.
Oh,
For the
is that
stage
why?
crew,
Is that why
yeah,
they
stage
stopped
crew
it?
and musicians as
Yeah.
well, so they kind of stopped that
Yeah, it was
later
a
on.
stage crew and musicians
Yeah.
they were worried about, not the dancers.
Not the dancers.
Right?
Oh
Right.
no! Oh hell no! But it was fun, you know. So it was great.
And so, Ron, did you sing to Teri in the show?
Every night.
Every
In the
night.
car- in the
Oh,
car,
we
remember?
loved it. Oh, sure.
So how did you come to the Follies?
I hail from Kansas City. I went to University of Missouri, Kansas City, and minored in music at the Conservatory of Music. I was a major in majoring in radio and television broadcasting at the time, and I was minoring in music. I started getting jobs singing. I auditioned for Worlds of Fun, which was a theme park similar to Disneyland in Kansas City. Did 6 shows a day out there for 1 summer. Went from there to Starlight Theater, got my equity card. I was in Camelot and Oliver with Orson Bean, Heather McRae, Anna Marie Alberghetti, Noel Harrison. Then packed my bags and my equity card came out west. My cousin, Barbie Verbanik,
Yes.
you know her. She
That's
was
your
in
cousin?
Yeah, she's my cousin.
Wow.
She was in the Lido. She said, hey,
Yes.
if you can sing and you're tall, you're going to probably do well here in Las Vegas. So I came out. I auditioned for City Lights, and they had just opened 2 days after I arrived in town. I got the job as the understudy, line boy.
What were you ice skating?
I had roller skated a lot back home, and in the show at the Worlds of Fun, I had a roller skating number.
Okay.
Gee, I'd like to be your roller skating mate. It was a disco number. Anyways, so I was very, very good on skates. And when I went in there, I had not ice skated before, but I put the skates on. I skated around, was able to go forward, backward. I really didn't know how to stop. But they didn't see that, and they hired me immediately, for the show. So I did that for a while, and then kind of worked my way up because I was, wanted to sing, and worked my way up into the understudy singing spot, and then took over that spot for a while, and then left, went to South Africa, did a couple shows there in South Africa in Durban, and then came back into town, worked at the marina just for a brief moment.
Wow.
In a show that came and went. I can't even think of the name of it now. And then I got the Moulin Rouge. It was the last year of the Moulin Rouge. So I took over for Eric Gillette.
Okay.
And did the show with Vic Damone, the McGuire sisters, Debbie Reynolds.
And by that time you were a singer.
Yes,
So were you a dancer as well before?
I moved.
'Cause you said you ice skated.
I moved well, and I took dance when I was in college, and then of course being in the shows back home, you just sort of evolve into what they give you. So I was able to pull it off, and then. When I did the Moulin Rouge, Larry Lee came to see the show the last week. I remember him being there. And then like 3 weeks later, there was an audition for the show, and I went to sing, and we did a number, a Barnum type of number, a circus number in the Moulin Rouge. And I saw Eric Gillette at the audition for the Follies, and he goes, oh, what are you going to sing? And I said, I'm going to sing the Barnum number. And he looked at me and said, oh, you are? Why would you sing that? I just said, I like the song. I like it fits my voice, and I sang it. And Larry Lee said, oh, you're the guy from the circus show that I just saw last week. And I got the job, and I was at the Follies for 14 years.
14 years.
Yep.
It paid off singing that song.
Well, I want to talk more about your 14 years at the Follies.
Yeah.
But we need to take a quick commercial break.
Okay.
So don't go away. We're going to be right back with the gang.
We're all here.
Yeah.
Great tasting, thirst-quenching, award-winning wines, Pine Hollow Winery. Live music, wine tastings, happy hours.
Best thing in Las Vegas is Pine Hollow Winery.
So wine in sometime, 7018 West Charleston Boulevard, Las Vegas.
We're back here at the Showgirl Connection, and we have Teri, Ron, and Shirley with us. And we were just going to start talking a little more to Ron about his 14 years at the Follies Bergère.
Hey, it was a great run. We were just saying that how different it was back then. It was like, you shook the hand of Larry Lee, and if you kept your nose clean and did your job, you were able to stay there. And I think that's the great thing about that. It wasn't that the mob was there; it was that mob mentality that kind of was still around when Larry was still there. It was just that good old boy, do your job and you can keep it kind of thing. And it was just a great time. I mean, I think about some of the stuff that we did backstage and got away with, and
We had fun.
we
Can't talk about it.
we can't really.
Can't talk about it right now.
So were you a singer and a dancer in the Follies?
I had the lead spot as the singer MC, and it was split with Bill Garbett. We both did it, twice. We split the show evenly throughout the week.
Okay.
That's kind of how it was.
Yeah.
There were two female singers and two male singers, and we both had all the speeches and kind of the storyline of keeping the show together, and then sang also.
And you did that for 14 years?
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazingly.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, with all of us, I think, we did it every single night, but when the audience came to watch us, I don't think they ever felt like, oh gosh, they've been doing this for a long time.
Right.
Because people would say, oh, how long have you been in the show? And I'd say that 10 years or whatever it was. They were like, oh my God, it seemed like you just started. You had that energy. But that's our job, to do that. And each audience is totally different. you get a different reaction from every single audience. So, and you need to that is your job, to make it fresh.
Yep.
To make it fresh for everybody.
Yeah. So no fun stories you can tell us, the two of you?
Well,
There was a lot of partying.
there's a
going
lot
on
of partying
backstage.
going backstage, and the boys used to play poker all the time during the acts. It's a 20-minute act, so you're sitting backstage,
Yeah.
so they would play poker, and they got so involved with it that the number started, and they're still upstairs.
They're playing,
and
yeah.
they're upstairs with the entertainment director, Larry Lee, too. So it's just like they didn't get in trouble, but the curtain went up, and there were no boys on stage, and you could just hear them running down the hallway, putting on their jacket, getting on that stage, and just going right back on stage. The audience probably didn't even realize it, but
Right.
they were supposed to be on the stage when the curtain went up. But they're running from stage right from the dressing room, just hauling as fast as they can, putting on their coats. It was the funniest thing. And they didn't do it but once, maybe twice.
Maybe twice.
Maybe twice, that I'm going to say. But, we had some scares like that and everything. And, we had like a passerella in front and it was open. There was like a pit area that you could actually fall in,
Yeah.
because you would run around the passerella. Because before they had
That's where the orchestra
That's where
was.
the orchestra was located. So they took
Okay.
that out and just left it empty. And they didn't cover it up. So one night I'm out there and doing the kicks on the passerella, and before I know it, I'm laying down in the pit. Like, how did I get here? And I had to get up. And I had to crawl out, like everybody's watching me. I had to crawl out and crawl off stage, being so embarrassed that, it happened. I didn't get hurt because, I had a big can dress on. But
the
you
good
don't,
padding.
it's the padding, absolutely. But
yeah.
you didn't see it. It was just like, I'm gone. And then, oh my God, where am I? you're in the dark, And one other story, we had a magician, Barclay Shaw.
Mm-hmm.
Barclay Shaw was wonderful, and he did a levitation number. And he's right there in the middle where the passerella is, and he's got her, and he's just kind of like this, the dry ice is going, and he's levitating her, and he takes her around in a big circle, and he comes around, all the way around. All of a sudden, she's gone. It's just like everybody go, oh, this is great. Well, she got unhooked and she slid off into the pit, into the passerella like I did, and she was gone. It was just like everybody went, wow, what happened to her? What happened to her? She just, and the dry ice covered her up, and she just fell in there, and she did get a concussion. They did have to come out and pull her out of the pit, but it was just like. That thing was dangerous, and they didn't cover it up to I think the last 4 or 5 years that the show was there. It was there till 2004 or 5, and they closed in 2009.
Probably became an insurance problem.
But insurance,
I
yeah.
know,
But somebody got injured, but
yeah.
they still wouldn't cover it up.
I know we were talking about that, of
Yeah.
course, off, before we came on, but the things that we did,
Yeah.
right, that you probably couldn't do today.
Oh, you could now with the animals, and with
Yeah,
all the
we were
animals.
talking about the
The
animals.
animals and everything. Yeah.
Or Jubilee was the last show where they were manually pushing all those sets.
Yeah.
I mean, those sets weren't
Oh yeah. Yeah.
light.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah, no.
there was a lot, and I, just everything being choreographed backstage like it was
Yes.
on stage, because you were talking about way back in the day when coming off the sides of the stages or crawling up.
Probably, yeah. In the original Follies Bergera showroom, before the new one was built in '75, this was earlier. You couldn't get on the stage unless you had to crawl down a ramp on both sides of the stage with your costume on, and the stagehands, helped you down. And if you got on the main stage, you had to go through the kitchen. The kitchen was you had to go through the kitchen
Wow.
to go up the ramp to get on the main stage to perform. So it was really something back then.
Yeah.
And the stage was huge. Besides that, you had the stairs to go. The ramps went all the way around the showroom as well. So you get from one end to the other, the stage right, you go all the way across the stage left. It was just like you just chug, you just run. My first time ever in the show, I was rehearsing, And I ran up and down the stairs. I ran all day long. I mean, I was thinking 8 hours of rehearsal to learn the choreography, and you run here and you run back. And the next morning, the phone rang, and I got up and it completely fell on my face because my calves were so cramped from running so much, and I had no idea what was wrong. I just kind of like just went on my face. So that's when you learn to, to rub your calves. You got to
Pace
stretch.
yourself.
But we
Yeah.
didn't do all that back then.
No.
And you're young and you just want to do it. You don't
Yeah.
want to
Right.
you just don't want to say I hurt. You just do it.
Yeah.
Well,
I know Ron, and I miss Ron DeCar's event center because after you
thanks.
left the show, did you go directly into
Uh,
having the Ron DeCar event center?
No, while I was at the Tropicana, I started moonlighting as a wedding singer. So I opened a
Okay.
business called Wedding Singers of Las Vegas. Teresa Gossman, who was in the show with us, she was the other singer on the girls' side. Her mom worked at Little Church of the West. And one day she said that they had like 40 weddings. And I said, oh, do you think they'd ever want a singer for their wedding? So I came up with this idea of singing for weddings. So I would go in a tuxedo and all that and sing for these weddings at Little Church of the West. And then one of the ladies there said, can you dress up like Elvis? And we had done a Halloween party at the Trop, and I had rented a hearse, and myself and Susan Toby had brought back Marilyn Monroe and Elvis Presley for this Halloween party, because of course I had an Elvis outfit. So I said, oh yeah, sure I can. And it just happened. I literally just morphed into this wedding business thing, and so I was singing at all these weddings all day long, and then singing at the Tropicana, and then going in between shows and running down the Strip and singing at a wedding and coming back and changing in my car. And it got to be so much that I literally singing 20 times a day and singing 3 songs at each of these weddings, and then singing at a show at nighttime too.
Yeah.
So then when I retired from the Follies, right when I turned 40. I then opened the Viva Las Vegas Wedding Chapel down on the Strip. My partner Jamie and I, we rented it from Bob Stupak, who built the Stratosphere Tower.
Yep.
And then a year later, after we were open for a year doing weddings, we bought the place and ran it for solid 22 years until the pandemic. But during that time, we opened the event center.
Oh, okay.
So I
you
would
opened
say
the event center
2014, yeah, we had been running the wedding chapel for like 16 years,
Okay.
something like that. Then we opened the event center because we bought a larger part of the property, which came with this building. We tried to fix it up, so I thought, well, we'll do wedding receptions. So we put this in, and Kim Cornell Lyle Cornell,
Yep.
she came to the event center one time for a memorial that we had for one of the dancers from the Lido, and she said, hey, this place would be a great cabaret room. Why don't you think about doing cabaret too? So then I just put it out there, got all the licensing, to do that along with liquor licenses and being able to have all kinds of different acts in there. And it just evolved. So it turned into this nightclub / wedding reception
was a
facility that we
great
ran
nightclub.
for a solid 6 years, and then the pandemic just killed everything.
Yep.
Every business that I had was like, 3 social gathering businesses that were failing. So I said, it's time to get out. Because at that point, we had been doing it for 22 years, and I said, can I really see myself sinking just a ton of money more into trying to save this when nobody's coming? We had no brides and grooms. We had no one doing anything. So it didn't make any sense. So we got rid of it, and now I work for the company that bought us. So I sing all day long.
Wow.
All day long.
Wow.
Never ending. And
Yeah.
now I'm singing in her show
Yes.
again.
Yes.
Well, so tell me a little bit about the show coming up.
Oh, it's going to be April the 28th. It's at Notoriety.
Monday night.
Monday night. Which
Easy night to come out.
Easy night.
Okay.
It really is. And it was something we did at Ron DeCar's Event Center. And it's something we did like 8 years ago. And this show, I went, you know what? I haven't seen a show like this around town. I've been going to clubs, and they're all just singing an orchestra and singing, but they don't have a show like we used to have in the 70s. It's based off the lounge shows,
Yep.
Nice.
lounge area, not the production, the lounge ones. So a little bit smaller. We have 3 dancers, 3 singers, and 2 specialty acts. And
then
Shirley's
yeah.
one of my specialty acts,
Nice.
and it runs singing in the show. And it's really coming along really well. We've been in rehearsals for about a month now, so we hope it goes well. We're all over 60 except for my new singer that I just got, because we've had a little incident. So, but the show's going to be great, you know. So
Nice.
we have another 3 weeks before we open. So, and it's kind of exciting because nobody's seen a show like this for a long time.
Okay.
You know, because like I say it's kind of different, but it's like if you were here in the 70s, 80s, or even 90s before the lounges closed, then you would kind of see the format that we're using that we used to use back then.
Okay.
So it's exciting, great talent.
Nice.
Really, really fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So now, how did you find Shirley to come be in your show?
Shirley has always been in my shows. Whenever I
Yeah.
did a
Oh,
show,
all
Shirley
right.
always came in. She either was a dancer, because she's
Okay.
a great dancer, but she did her comedy, and I went, you know what? I like the comedy. So she came in. She does my.
Goes to show you,
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
the crazy one.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
All the
So-
crazies.
So Shirley's is
Yeah.
in the show, you know, and then I have another specialty act he's already performing at Planet Hollywood in the show. So this is his night off. So he's taking his night off so he can come in to be in the show for
Oh,
us.
fun.
So it's just fun, and then we all kind of know one another.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of fun to get everybody together. It's like a big reunion. So-
Yeah. Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing
Yeah,
it.
yeah, me too.
It's
Yeah.
going to be a really fun night.
Yeah,
A
it's
fun,
just
crazy night.
crazy.
And sometimes Monday nights are great to get out because,
That's a great night.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
and
It
you
really
know,
was.
it's
7
an evening
p.m.
out,
7
7
o'clock.
p.m.
It's at Notoriety downtown on Las Vegas Boulevard in Fremont.
Yeah.
Okay. Another great
Yeah.
event space.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, it is fun. Yeah, so
Yeah.
looking forward to it.
Super.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a few laughs and
I will be there.
see some chicks dancing and
Yeah, some
Ron over here
Singing.
singing.
yeah, absolutely, and dancing.
Yeah.
And doing dancing as well. You know, so
Are you going to do some tap dancing?
No, we're not doing tap dancing.
not this time.
Not this time, but I'll save for the Broadway show.
Well, you know Joni Salon, right? Because
Yeah.
she was in.
She
the-
was in Follies,
the Follies
Las Vegas
Review.
Follies.
Yeah.
She was in the show with me when I first started in the Follies. She was one of the first people I met.
Okay.
Yeah, she's great.
And you know Cindy Domaney.
Yes, you know,
Absolutely.
Cindy Domaney. Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
they happen to be in the studio.
Are you kidding?
No, so I thought maybe they could just come on and we could all say hello. And
Uh-oh.
I brought
Uh-oh.
a couple Showgirl hats, and I just happen to have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 6 Showgirl hats.
That'll work.
Maybe we can all put on a Showgirl hat.
Yes.
I think that'll
and
work.
do a like a group shot.
I think so.
So Cindy and Joni, come on up.
Hi.
I'm so glad you're here.
I'll let them sit.
You want us to
Well, yeah, I think we should all just
this house?
come on. Let's come on over to this space so that we have room to put our hats on.
Okay.
Okay.
Did we stop for a minute?
Okay. So do you guys want to grab one of the hats? and Bring it along.
small one.
Oh, and we forgot to show you that actually these hats
Oh.
are from the Follies Bergère, and we happen to have a picture of Teri.
With 3 other girls.
Yes.
And this is, Teri, you're the
There you go.
second one in from,
Yep.
from the right.
I'm right there.
And this is her hat.
Oh, cool.
So I don't know if we can like pull out, zoom out.
Fine, Luann.
Oh, and here's the hat.
And put the other
Okay, so let's all come on over to the other studio and we'll put on some hats.
Okay. Are we going to bring this hat with us?
Yes, please bring
Okay.
that. Okay.
Okay.
I even have a men's hat. Ron Ron has a hat from Hello Hollywood Hello.
Okay.
That was up in Reno.
Should I?
Oh, well, yes, you can. I happen to have this hat right here.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know if I can get that on. Aren't you going to put that on?
I was going to put this big rug on.
Oh, it's perfect.
Gorgeous.
Thank you.
There you
How
go.
do we look? Oh, you look
Oh.
beautiful.
Okay.
You look
Oh,
at
this
this
is
right.
okay.
You don't.
Oh, so help here? Yes, I think so. 'Cause
Oh.
Can you get that on?
I have no idea.
Oh.
You know,
I think so.
Hey, there you
I would imagine this is
Just like
Stress times. And you probably don't need the chin strap on. Whoops, whoops, so let's just, okay.
Looks great on you.
Ready?
Yeah.
I have a small head, that's what fits me.
Talk about a small head, Leanne.
I know. And this was actually my hat. I don't know how I fit into it because I think my head's
Okay,
gotten
oh,
bigger.
don't you
There
look
you go.
ready to go
That
with
looks
my outfit?
beautiful.
I think so.
I think you should wear that in the show.
Okay, I'm gonna just wear it to Vons.
Just fit this.
Thank you.
Whoa. Oh, yeah, I might have to. Let's all do group shot. Let's put Ron in the middle, maybe.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
come on in, Cindy. The camera's right here, the one here, the white one.
Is this the what one?
I have that broken leg somewhere.
All right.
All right, I'll hang on.
Group shot. So welcome, goodbye, thanks for coming to the Showgirl Connection, and we'll see you on our next